So Willie, you might be up sooner than later.
Okay.
Or do you want, I could do the city, whatever you want.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order for the workshop for 5th. Jenny, if you take the roll.
Councilmember Thorson?
Here.
Councilmember Peterson? Here. Councilmember Wong? Here. Councilmember Cole is absent. Mayor Furlong?
Here, quorum is present. This time motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved, Your Honor.
Moved by Councilmember Peterson,
Second.
second by Councilmember Wong. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We have a few topics tonight. Boy, it sounds like the microphones are working good. And I'll turn it over to City Manager Sark.
Thank you, Mayor Furlong and council members. Tonight's topics are kind of all revolving around trash and recycling and similar kinds of things. I would ask that maybe we could switch up the order of the presentations tonight and do item B first, which would be a presentation from Willie Tennis, about kind of their operations in North St. Paul, how things are going, and anything he wants to clue us in on.
Perfect. Welcome, Willie. And I always got to say it, we're going to talk trash.
All
So,
right. Now you're talking my language. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff.
not sure if that button's on or not. If
Oh, I got kind of a loud voice.
There
Yeah, I got a green light.
you go. You're good.
Okay. I just got to turn it up a little bit here. Yeah, Angela told me I was supposed to talk about recycling, so if you want to know a lot about how everything's going in the city, I can still manage to talk about that also. Things are going very well for us. I just got to say, the coolest thing, we had a lady driver that was a recycler, and she was pregnant, and unfortunately, I don't know the addresses, but I know she's turned in an alley, and here they had a little baby shower for her. A bunch of the neighbors got together, gave her gifts. I thought that was one of the coolest things that we've ever came
That
upon.
was my neighborhood.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
Good neighborhood.
Yep, that was fantastic. Yeah, she was come back to the office crying, showing us the gifts and stuff, you know, and it's just like, what? They did what? It's like, no. Oh. But, yeah, so no, we've had a lot of great experiences here in North St. Paul. People are very nice and appreciate our services. My brother and I thrive on service, and so it's nice to know when people do appreciate it. And so everything is working very well for us. There's no issues that I could think of. So,
I know the 7 o'clock time that they're ready to go right at 7.
yeah, that would be, yeah, if we could have some kind of conversation on that sometime would be nice.
You want it later? 8?
Yeah. No, because our company's motto's always been that we like to start early because we like to have our trucks off the streets before the kids get out of school in the afternoons. And so sometimes it gets to be a little bit of an issue, but we've never had any incidences or anything, but that's why we like to start early. And yeah, and we got some new drivers that, trying to push the button a little bit there, and we have to pull the reins back a little bit and tell them, no. So,
And I think that's probably one of the biggest complaints that we hear, if it happens before 7 o'clock. And I haven't heard, to be honest with you, I haven't heard anything, so it's, I think
okay.
you guys are doing good.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure our drivers are doing
Yep.
good. I know we just recently have a new one, and I know he pushed a button here last week a little bit, and we caught him right away and told him, don't even think about it.
Right.
So, but, yeah, no, like I say, Angela gave me some statistics here on recycling. I don't know if you want to know it or not or whatever, but yard waste in 2020, there was 1,573 yards, and in 21, there was 1,786. So there's an increase of 213 yards. So Not quite sure if, I don't remember if we had more rain in '21, or if there was more people joining the program. And then, yeah, she just talks about the recycling, about the 95-gallon cart and additional bags, no problem. The recycling, in 2020, our total tonnage was 974.53, and that averages out to 46.56 pounds per household. But in '21, it dropped a little to 933.12, so the average dropped to 44.75 per household. But we feel what happened in '21 was there are a lot more people working from home, and then everybody's doing more electronics, even the kids' homework now. With the distant learning, they wanted the kids to do everything on the computer, so there was less paper being brought home from school. And so we're thinking that is where the difference came, because we've noticed we have less loads of paper. So, so it's not that people are actually recycling less, it just happens to be people are doing more electronics versus paper. And yeah, and then we got, you know, if people do have something that doesn't belong in the recycling cart, we have an educational tag that we leave, and we mark off what's in there. And so that helps a lot. And, but other than that, everything is just going great. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has any questions for me, but.
Oh, go ahead.
Number one.
I was just wondering how often you have educational pieces that you're passing out. Is that a lot, or, you know, is it?
Well, yeah, actually, all we do as far as that goes is we just give people a tag if they put something in that doesn't belong in there.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do, and I'm not sure why we didn't do it or mention it when North St. Paul bought their own carts, but we actually have a flyer right on the lid of our recycling cart, and it has a picture and the language of everything that we do accept. And then it has a little paragraph of the things we don't accept. And that may be more helpful to people, because we feel it's right in front of their face, that anytime they go to that cart, it's like, well, is it or isn't it? It's like, okay, just read the label. And so that may be something that we would want to work together on and do something there. And otherwise, too, like these figures I gave you here, we could do something yearly to the city and just keep up on all the numbers on that stuff year to year.
Have you ever worked with a magnet, maybe on the refrigerator to show that?
Yeah, we have those also.
That might be an easy fix or an option,
Sure, sure.
rather than stick it on the cart, although it'd be probably optimal to put it right on top of the cart, but
Sure, sure, yep.
I know looking at the refrigerator, look at it every day and
Yes, yes, we have magnets too. That would be an option also.
get that to
Yes.
everybody. Councilmember Thorson?
Yeah, I guess, I know this maybe isn't necessarily geared towards recycling and yard waste, but I know when we took on the contract, there's a lot of discussion or unknowns about the tipping fees that get charged. And, you know, I'm sure we're kind of unique than other cities where we pay that and then we kind of do the billing as well, so it's something kind of different. But there is, I've been aware of other cities, and I don't know if they're still using it or not, but the trash trucks actually can weigh the garbage and recycling when they're picking it up, and it seems to be that's how they bill the customer off of their tonnage, because that's how the trash is dealt with tonnage wise. Is that something that you see the future, that at least coming to our area, or is that something that your trucks might be having in the future anytime soon, or?
Well, we have some competition that has tried that, and as far as working in Minnesota, it doesn't work very well come wintertime.
Okay.
And so it's until they perfect that a little better. We don't feel to invest in that because like I say, it's broke more in the winter than it works. And so it really is not very useful.
Okay.
But as far as the city, the comment you made about you paying the tipping fee and stuff, then you're always aware of the increases from the county because next year is going to be a very big one. So we've already got the numbers from them, so it's going to be a huge jump.
Went up quite a bit.
23. Yes, it's going up, I believe, $10 a ton, which is huge, huge.
And I know, oh, sorry, go ahead. You can finish.
But on the positive side of that, the county, some of the reasons that they're charging more is they are putting more machinery in down there, and they are gonna have the capability of doing organics. And so from what we're told, and maybe I shouldn't be speaking but for this county, but supposedly you're gonna be able to put your organics bag right in your trash cart. And then they're gonna have machinery down there to separate that.
And that was gonna be my other question. I know we have the presentation information. I know, looks like the representative just walked in, but they basically were saying they're gonna have a separate bag. It's a green organic bag that you just put in your normal trash and you guys just haul it away. That's obviously something that you guys are ready to roll out with? It's just a matter of the residents getting those bags and then obviously education on our part, letting them know to do that?
Correct, yes. No, I think it's a really good idea because otherwise, if you had it separate, you got another truck on the streets. And so this makes a world of sense as far as we're concerned. So we're just glad that the county is stepping up and doing that, and it's the most efficient way that we see.
I'm glad you were first rather than second, because then we know what you're gonna do.
Yeah,
And that, it's gonna work.
yes,
It's gonna
yes. Oh, yes, yep.
Do you see any concerns in the city that you can see that, besides the 7 o'clock time?
No, I haven't heard of any issues with any of the drivers no, everything's running very smooth on our side.
And I have heard many, many positive things from your company and how you've gone above and beyond sometimes by getting out of the truck and actually physically taking the dumpster out to the street or whatever it is. I've heard that many times. So kudos to your company and to what you guys do for the city.
Oh, great. Yes, 'cause like I say, we promote recycling as much as possible, and like I say, we tell them you can put your cardboard boxes next to the cart. We can take them like that too, instead of trying to cut them all up and get them to fit in your cart, whatever. We just try to make it as easy as possible for people to recycle more. And so that's something that we do that other companies don't.
That's good information to get
Yes.
out there. I think our communications person can add that to our website. Councilmember Peterson.
With our population boom, we're going to add more residents. Is that going to impact your company, or you're going to be able to do the service the same, efficiently, or,
Yes,
okay.
not a problem at all.
Good to hear.
We like to see growth.
Any other questions for Willie? I always like to talk trash, so it's only,
Just a little, I don't know, pun for our company, whatever. It's on, God dang it, I don't know my computer stuff very well. I don't know if it's on TikTok or what it's at, but there's a kid out of Hastings. It's called Take a Hike Mike. It's on YouTube. That's what it is, YouTube. If you go on there and punch in Take a Hike Mike, tennis sanitation, you'll see the cool little thing. He came out and spent half a day with our company, and our one driver did an excellent job, and then I got to show him around our facility and in our recycling center and stuff. And we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that. So it was a cute little fun thing. Kids really like watching that show, so when they see the trash and recycling, you just try to make a little education out of it. But he still makes it funny, too.
And I suppose it went viral. People.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot how many hits he said he had on it or whatever, but yeah, he was happy himself that it went very well for him, too.
Cool. Well, good. Anything else? If not, thank you very much, and. Sure.
Today with the rain, it was more apparent that I took notice of it, but the trash containers that are filled about this much higher than the container itself, with the top open, so you're filled with water, and you give tickets to those people saying, hey, the container is this big, it's not that much. Nah, actually, no, we don't. We try to be a little lenient, and I know some of our competitors, if the lid's open, they charge extra, but we try not to be that petty.
Good. Thank you, Willie. Appreciate it. And,
Thank you.
Thank
Anytime
you
you-
for your company and great service to our city.
Well, great. We appreciate everything, and anytime you need our help with anything, just give us a holler.
We'll be working on the spring cleanup, I believe.
Oh, yes.
I think staff's been in contact with your crew about the spring cleanup.
Yes, yeah, my brother actually handles that part, so I know he's on top of that, so, yep.
Good, good.
All right.
All right, take care.
Have a nice evening.
Yep, you too. And we have City Manager Stark. I'll turn it over to you, and
Thank you. Yeah, the next presentation is about the recycling, the energy food scraps pickup program that was mentioned here. And the presenter is Filson Ibrahim. I believe your title is Recycling Coordinator for Ramsey County. So I will just pass it along to you. Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here. So my name is Filson Ibrahim. It's similar to Wilson. Hey, Lisa. But it's Filson, so kind of like Wilson, but Filson. And I have a quick presentation on what to expect with the food scraps program that's going to be coming up at the end of this year and then early 2023. It should show. I also have it on my phone, so I can. No, it's up. It's just not displaying it. I can see it. You can see it.
We never have technical difficulties, so.
It's good to be in person, though, and not on Zoom. If you don't mind, we can get started, and when it just shows up, it'll show up. And I think you.
Correct.
Oh, no, yep, thank you. Sadly, I'm always on my phone, so. So the food scraps pickup program, like I mentioned, is gonna be starting at the end of this year, our pilot phase, launching on to 2023. A bit of background with the R&E Center and Ramsey and Washington County. Both counties have over 820,000 residents with over 70,000 businesses across both counties. That makes 17% of the state population. Ramsey and Washington County, in conjunction with the R&E Center, have been working jointly together since the 1980s to manage trash responsibly. The organization has been collaborating with Washington and Ramsey County under the joint power leadership that includes commissioner from both counties. Staff at the R&E and Washington and Ramsey County have been working together to build and start a ton of initiatives across both counties. The mission of the R&E Center is vibrant and healthy cities without waste. And speaking about the food scrap pickup program, it is developed with the R&E Center in conjunction with both of the counties. So why the food scrap pickup program? So the food scraps in the garbage makes up 20% of the waste. And removing that is a way to kind of get us all closer to the state recycling goal. And it is, notification came up. And it is a way to help residents to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions and for all of us to conserve our resources. Prior to the program launching, both counties have initiatives to educate and inform residents of what the food scrap pickup program is all about. And it is more so to collect all the food waste that's going to be generated in our households instead of thinking of it as a program where extra food kind of just goes in the trash. So the program is to be rolled out at the end of this year and at the beginning of 2020. It would be available to all Ramsey and Washington County residents that live in apartments, condos, and single-family homes. And the program is going to be participants are going to participate with putting their food scraps in a food scrap bag that is compostable with no additional fee or cost to them. And the next slide is kind of like the infographic of the food scrap process. So as you are at home and you're generating all the food scraps, all that will go into the food scrap pickup program. You'll just take that out as you would your regular trash. The haulers would pick it up, Willie and one of his people, and then take that to the transfer site where, and then it will come to the R&E Center where it will be sorted by machines, and then the compost would be sold to compost facilitating sites, and our end goal is to have anaerobic digestion sites at the R&E Center where we can kind of create that process. Nicely done, team. And I think we are on slide 11. So why are we, the way that the foods pickups program is designed is to have all the food scrap collected in the trash bins that are already at residents' houses. And our thinking behind that was for the environmental purposes and to decrease greenhouse emissions, and then to reduce the hauler trucks that are already out on the road. And then lastly, the equity piece, so more folks can participate, mainly folks that live in condos or apartments can also be a part of this program. So the food scrap bags are designed to withstand the whole trip as we pick them up from the house all the way up to the transfer stations. They're gonna be two sizes. So the first size is six gallons, the second is 13 gallons. And the way we're thinking about it is the 6 gallons would be similar to your bathroom trash bag, and then the 13 would be your kitchen trash container. And some of the details of the bag, it's gonna be 3 times thicker than a regular trash can or the trash bag. It's gonna be PPI certified, and it is in the color green to help kind of folks differentiate that this is compost and it is going to a compost site. And then all the all the trash that is collected in Ramsey and Washington County goes to the R&E Center, where all the metals are recycled from taken away from the trash and are recycled. The remaining refuse is taken to, I believe, Red Wing, where is, before it goes to Red Wing, it's shredded on site and it's taken to Red Wing to burn for energy and electricity. That way, the remains, the trash that remains goes to, the limited trash that remains goes to the landfills. One exciting thing about the food scrap pickup program is that it's going to be mechanically separated from all the trash that comes to the site. So we have machines that I believe are going to be installed soon at the R&E Center that will pick up the green bags that kind of come down the line. And if you guys ever want to see the R&E Center, I believe tours are back up. So please do check it out. It's a beautiful process that they have in place, and seeing everything in person kind of just helps you make sense of, like when I throw my trash away, I'm just thinking it's only me. But when you see the collective, it really helps put everything in perspective. The project is, as I mentioned, the construction is happening at the R&E Center. We're working to wrap up and find end markets and folks that can help with the compost that is going to be generated. The vendors that the R&E board has approved so far are the food scrap manufacturer, the warehouse where the bags are going to be stored, fulfillment and shipping vendors, website developers, and a customer service call center. And I think I can pull up the number of the slide that I'm in. So slide 15 is, and funding for this program, I think 3 more slides maybe. Funding for this program has come on 3 different ways. The first way is we received a grant from the MPCA in 2020, a bonding bill. The second is the county environmental charge, and the third is tipping fees from the haulers that are set to deliver the trash at the R&E Center. Now, the more kind of the meat of the presentation. So the program is going to be launched in phases. The first phase is the pilot, which is in the process of happening as of right now. We had an ask for residents to kind of sign up for the program, and I think we had over 600 residents sign up, but unfortunately we can only pick 40 folks. So the interest is definitely there. So our goal is to work with those folks, see how the program works in a small scale. Our first launch is going to be happening at the end of this year, where we're going to be phasing out and working with selected cities. And our end goal for phase 2 launch is to have the program be available to all residents in both Ramsey and Washington County. So we've done a few community engagement throughout the years, and we're working, one of our biggest thing that we are mindful of is to have a diverse pool of participants every time we do engage the community. So we did a general survey in 2019 and then 2020, just to gauge interest and see what folks are considering as barriers and some concerns that they may have, and to help us kind of identify the bag preferences that folks are thinking of. And then overall, we had 90% of the folks that we gauged that were excited and looking forward to the program. And we had another survey that that we asked the residents in 2020, which kind of helped us see what folks are collecting as their food scraps, and then to help kind of further determine which food sizes would be ideal for for each household. So upcoming community engagement, we have the child focus group that I mentioned. We're working with them to kind of shape out education materials, to provide kind of feedback for us on what worked and what didn't. And our goal, as I mentioned, is to have a diverse pool, whether it's race, age, household types, or geographics in both counties. We have a pilot focus group that's going to be building off the child focus group, which will include demographics from the pilot, from the child focus group. And then lastly, we'll end, as the program builds out in 2023, we'll have ongoing community engagement and education provided to all residents. Our communication plan is to share out promotional kits for cities, district councils, hollers, community leaders, and all the stakeholders that we are engaged with. The kits will provide talking points, social media messaging, and other possibly engaging in short promotional and information video clips. We are going to provide mass mailing to all residents, and then have a press release for our local media. Once the program is launched, our goal is to share communication in various channels. We're working with a consultant team to have a large-scale ad campaign, so more and more folks are aware of what's being rolled out, and then relying heavily on social media to share all that information out. I think this might be the second last slide, but we're hope to be in, to have concise messaging to all of our residents for both Ramsey and Washington County. Our goal is to work to provide information to all of our cities, so all the information kind of comes from us on what our cities should share with their residents, so there isn't a ton of confusion. We have residents that are super engaged in food scraps that are already doing this and are utilizing our drop-off sites, and we have residents that are on the opposite spectrum, who are really not looking forward to it or may have a lot of concerns and questions. So just to kind of eliminate any confusion, we're trying to have all the information come from us, shared out to all of our cities and the residents. Last slide, perfect. That is it, thank you.
Thank you. A couple questions I have is, are we one of the select cities that's going to be kind of the pilot program?
To be determined. I think we have a list of cities that we met with in both counties, and some of the cities were super engaged. They're like, please sign us up, and some of the cities were not. I'm not sure if North St.
If
Paul was
we're one of those ones that were excited or not excited?
Yes, but I could definitely find out, and I can get that information back to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you've mentioned 6 and 13 gallon bag. You have the choice, and then you get 60 of each of those bags?
Yes, you can select. Our goal is to have a website or a phone line where residents can kind of call in and ask for their the bags of their choosing. The first 60 bags are free, and as you order more, I think there's just a small fee that residents are expected to pay.
So that kind of the plan is every year they would get 60 bags in for free, and then whatever is beyond that, they would get,
That is correct.
they have to pay for whatever. So I'm assuming, I've never done organic you know, I'm assuming that you don't want to use your garbage disposal. That's kind of the goal, is to get rid of the garbage disposal.
Yes.
I know the little strainer that I always catch everything, it goes into the garbage. And sometimes goes in the garbage disposal. But, so I'm just thinking, 6 gallons and 13 gallons, that's a lot of organic waste.
It is. And you don't have to fill it all the way. If you have a family of 2, or if you're a single household, you can use the 6-gallon one, and even if you fill it out halfway and take it to the trash container, it'll still be picked up.
Okay.
Yep.
And just for convenience purposes, for the kitchen, does it go, what do you do with it? Is there a container that you can, another trash container? I suppose it's the size of a small trash container or whatever.
Yes, currently we have caddies that are smaller than the 6-gallon size.
Caddy, so that's,
Yes.
that's the word, okay.
Yep. But our containers, as the program rolls out, is going to be discontinued. So residents are kind of expected to find something that works for them, to kind of collect that, whether it's the 6-gallon or the 13-gallon.
Is a T-bone steak with the bone in it, is that organic?
It is, yeah. The
It is
bones,
organic,
yes.
okay.
The eggs.
Eggshells?
Yep. We go through a lot of fruit, so a ton of like cantaloupe, and I feel like if you peel a cantaloupe or like half a watermelon, that should easily fill that up. It might be easier in the summertime than the wintertime, but
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. Good. Any other questions?
Question?
Councilmember Wong?
Yeah, thanks for your presentation. My question is, will the drop-off sites also be discontinued?
Nope, they'll still be in business, and folks are going to be, because I feel like the decision that was made was to kind of give that extra support, to have folks already rely on what they're doing on top of this program that's going to be rolled out. So both are going to exist simultaneously.
Thank you.
Of course.
I guess this is kind of a question for Willie back there. So residents will put into the trash container. How do you separate it? Or it just gets dumped and that bag gets separated somehow? Yes. That we don't know? Cool.
Yes, and the way I think it's going to identify is through the color of the bag. So the green bags will be separated from the regular trash that's coming to the center.
Okay. I do see a drop-off in Maplewood Community Center. How does that work good?
Yeah, I think it's one of our busiest sites.
I know people that have reached out from Oakdale want to know where, and so they go over there to drop off.
Our goal, as of right now, is still to kind of build more of the drop-off sites. Yeah, they're in popular demand.
Really? Okay. Good. Thank you for the presentation, and good luck with the roll-off or the rollout.
Yes, it's an exciting time at the county, but yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, another, getting more greener, which is good. City Manager Stark?
Thank you, Mayor Furlong. Yeah, so next up, communications consultant Carrie Erpenbach is going to update us on the spring cleanup, where it's at, what it's going to look like.
What's it gonna look like?
It's going to be a lovely, sunshiny day.
Yep,
We'll have our sunscreen on, and we're going to line up our residents, and we're going to get them in and out of there even faster than we did last year.
wow.
So this year's date is Saturday, April 30th. We did make some changes. We're only going to go from 8 to 11 this year. And fortunately, our road construction's under control. We have a simpler route for people to get in. We're going to take everybody off 7th, down 2nd, and then wrap them around Public Works. So last year, we had too many turns, and we had some issues trying to manage traffic. So we've streamlined that this year. We've got some plans in place. There's a lot of residents who take care of, who really appreciate the electronic recycling on this. And so we're going to use our staff radios to, if people are truly just coming in with an electronic piece, we're going to try to zip those residents around faster so they don't have to stand in the line. So we're on Saturday, April 30th. We're going to have all the same collection that we had last year. The only piece we did pull out was the paper shredding. It just wasn't utilized. And that's part of what we kind of like to get some direction from council. That may be better as a standalone event at another time of the year. You know, maybe we could pull a shredding truck at Casey Park someday or something. But so we're kind of interested in seeing what you might like for another recycling event for the city. So we've got the list. It's been out on our website. It's on the Casey sign. And we've got in our news. We've got all of our kind of criteria as to what we'll accept, what we can accept. We will be, we have to validate residences, so we're looking for driver's license or utility bills that prove that they're a North St. Paul resident. I had to shake a few people out of line last year. They weren't happy. They didn't love me as much as the North St. Paul residents with their valid ID did. So we've got that going. And in addition to that, you know, the Public Works team has, you know, we kind of got the kinks out of this last week. We've got the route, so they'll pull in. Public Works staff will direct them around to the various drop areas that'll be identified by signs, and then out they'll go.
Good. I mean, I think we should do the shredding at some point, usually right after tax season, I think is a good time to do it.
What do you think about Casey? I was thinking that might be easy in and out off 17th.
Yeah, I think anywhere in the city would be, you know, if Casey's better or whatever. I mean, you got the circle or whatever. But yeah, I think we should have that event. I don't know what the other.
Yeah, there was I think people were so excited to get rid of the big stuff that paper kind of took a back seat on that. So,
Right.
good. Any questions on this? In addition to what we've got going on April 30th for the cleanup event, we're working with the parks. We had a meeting with the Silver Lake Improvement Association last night, and they're going to be doing their cleanup event on Saturday the 23rd. And we have parks commissioners who are going to be at Casey Lake on April 22nd. And what we're doing, I've got a draft that'll go out in the city news tomorrow, is we're going to bring in bags and gloves at City Hall and encourage residents who want to adopt their local park, clean up their neighborhood, you know, come up to City Hall, and we'll provide the bags and the gloves so we can kind of get a good spring cleaning throughout the city.
So park cleanup is April 22nd?
April 22nd at Casey. And
Just at Casey or all the parks?
we're encouraging all the parks. We actually have a host. One of the parks commissioners will be at Casey on the 22nd. 5:30.
What time?
5:30.
Typically, we would have park, so it's a Friday.
Friday night, and then Silver Lake wants to do theirs on Saturday.
So typically, we would have a park cleanup, you know, on a Saturday, 8 to noon. All the parks would be cleaned. We're not going to be doing that this year.
When I checked with the Parks Commissioner, the secretary this morning, that wasn't the plan. They were still pulling stuff together. That's not saying that we can't pull that together. We were just trying to look as staff as how could we make it as easy as possible for residents to come in, you know, get some bags, their gloves, and help clean up the city. And the other cleanup we got going is a citywide garage sale, May 5th through 7th. So after that, we should have no excuses for having any unwanted items in the city.
It'd be nice if we could also do, you know, this type of recycling in the fall too, maybe. Spring and fall,
Cleanup events spring and fall.
just before winter.
Would you want to do that?
Because we don't have the bulk pickup anymore. I mean, so before, we'd have the bulk pickup and then it'd be
Yeah, and
nice to.
Well, if I may, we still do have bulk pickup.
No, I mean,
You have to pay for it.
I'm sorry, free bulk
You have to
pickup.
pay for it. And you still paid for it too before. It was just on your bill monthly. It's a miscommunication on that to continue to say it was free and we took it away. So just wanted to clarify that.
So I think staff is open to a fall cleanup. I think we wanted to evaluate the spring cleanup and see how that goes, what aspects, maybe there's some aspects that go better than others. And, we'll, as we evaluate and every time we do the cleanup, we'll do it a little bit better, maybe a little bit differently.
Yep, yep.
So would you be interested, just for planning purposes, in a full cleanup again in the fall and a separate recycling, so possibly 3 events?
Say that again?
So we've got our spring cleanup.
Yep.
And it sounds like council would be interested in us pursuing something in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
We've also talked about how paper shredding kind of is a different event on itself.
Yep.
So if I'm hearing correctly, you would prefer to have possibly 3 events, a spring cleanup, some kind of a paper shredding event, and then something in the fall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, I think it's based on participation. We're all assuming that there's going to be a good turnout, and if that's
It
the
was like
case.
last year, they beat us. We were there early and they beat us.
Oh, yeah, I saw 2, 3 people coming through. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a much better route this year. We really had some issues.
And this is a shorter time, too.
Yeah, I think we went till 1 o'clock last year. Yeah.
And it was busy up until
It
1.
was busy up until 1. And we've been able to, the public works guys, we work together and get a little better map, so we don't have as many turns for cars. We can kind of get them straight in and straight out, because we did have some traffic issues. I mean, at one point, I was in front of the VFW. That's how far the line was.
And the reason we're not going to 1 is because of,
I don't know if that was a vendor issue or if that's just how they put it together.
The question is, why aren't we going to one what?
so it was very busy last year, 8 till 1. I mean, it was constant all day. And this is a shorter time frame. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but 8 to 11 seems pretty quick.
Yeah, and I don't know. I wasn't part of the, the staff committee that worked on this, but I'll check into it and find out why, what the rationale is.
That's my only concern, is that
Oh.
if it's busy, we're gonna shut it down then, and people are gonna,
Sure, I'll check
Well,
into
I
it.
think, I think that's something we could possibly, tennis is our partner on this event, and maybe, we still have time where if we need to have a plan.
Can you come up? Can you come up? Thanks.
We kind of talked about that. There was a time, there was like an hour and a half a time where there wasn't like anything going on. So we figured.
oh, really?
Yeah, there was. So we figured we'd shorten the time, see how it goes, see what we, can do with that. So.
Okay.
Because
Councilman
So
Carson.
just some questions. I wasn't at the event last year, but from my understanding, just of some comments that were made, that people observed people coming multiple times. So there was no limit on how much items you could bring. I could, in theory, roll up there with my dump trailer that's 14 feet
I think I had one
long.
resident that came through it 6 times. It got to be a
Okay.
big joke, because he'd flash me his license every time, and I think I
So-
knew the numbers by the end of the day.
I mean, and that could possibly be a reason why so many people kept coming later in the day. I mean, if you got to put this is a Saturday, and, we're asking people to come and work and volunteer. I mean, ideally, you'd probably say, yeah, we open at 8 and we'll stay open till the sun goes down. And I'm sure people would still come, which would make sense to have to me, like multiple events. You have a spring cleanup, a fall cleanup. Maybe advertise it to where it's, this is, put a limit on items, like, this isn't something where you're gonna, you clear your house out, then you go to your friend's house in Oakdale and clear that, I mean, stuff's gonna happen, but the goal here is that we're trying to cut down on clutter and recycle stuff and whatnot. But if we had multiple events and maybe we separate it, we used to have a trailer across the city hall here in the parking lot where it was just drop off electronics, like for months, wasn't it? All the summer. And that was successful in that there was constantly stuff there, but it was also difficult because it became a dump site and it took staff time to, basically physically hand stuff up into the trailer and fill those pallets, boxes and stuff. But, so I don't know if that makes sense to have a separate shredding event, like what you're talking about, and a good time to do that probably would, make sense, like around end of tax time or something like that. Maybe have a separate electronic event, so where if someone's just coming with, a computer or some single item, they don't have to wait in line for people that have a trailer full of stuff. And then, I don't know why the Public Works building was, chosen, but is it just because out of convenience? Or how is it laid, do you have multiple dumpsters laid out, and then when they're full, you're hauling them down right away?
We have multiple dumpsters, and then Tennis is pulling dumpsters out as they're full. So there's a lot of truck traffic that's in there. I've got some really cool video on my phone of how fast those dumpsters got up and pulled out. So that's about the best place that we can really stage the event. And last year, we had some stuff that needed a little bit of staff attention. I think there was tires that came on rims that we needed the Public Works guys to kind of do some work on before we could haul them out, so.
Because I'm just trying to think of, if we could choose a place, it would be somewhere where there's like a large parking lot with multiple entrances and exits. And the only place that really comes to mind is Target, and that's private property, but they did let us stage all those trash bins there, but I don't know if they're still willing to offer up that space or not. But I don't know if that's something too we've looked at. The next kind of large areas would be like elementary school parking lots on the Saturdays is probably not being used unless there's events or sporting events or something. But I don't know if that was ever any thought of that. Instead of having it because that Public Works is kind of, it's not ideal to have a line of cars because there's bends and curves and going down one road and down another. So I don't know if there is any thought about having it at a different place or not, but.
Yeah, we talked about having it, someplace else, but we can really kind of control what goes on there. And I think with this new route that we have proposed for this year, like you said, last year was the first time that we did it. So we just kind of wung it and set something up, and, it worked pretty decent, but I think we worked out some kinks with it, and we'll try it this way. We're gonna close down that frontage road, coming in off of 2nd Street, and we're gonna have 2 lines. So that'll be closed. They'll both be going into Public Works. We're gonna have an electronics line and then electronics or just regular bulk pickup. So like Carrie spoke of, where we can get the people with electronics in, because that was really the most that the electronics was just crazy how much, people brought in. So we're gonna try it. We think the layout that we had in there, we could work it out. We could get trucks in and out of there quick. We could get people in and out of there quick. And we didn't have to use any other property, anyone else's property for that. So,
Okay.
It's kind of a work in progress. We'll see how it goes, and
It worked out pretty slick, I thought. You
Yeah,
guys,
I
you guys did a
think
great
it
job.
did.
I mean,
I think it worked out, decent, and it's on our property, and, we didn't have to handle things twice like we were talking about. Tires come on rims. They wouldn't take the tires with the rims. So we had to take them all off, that had to be taken off. All the lawnmowers, stuff that was dropped off, all the fuel and oil had to be dropped out of them. So, we had a staging area by our mechanics bay there where that happened in the next couple days in order to take all that stuff out. So instead of, the least amount of handling of that stuff is, I don't know, I think it worked out pretty good. And we can always improve on it, look at different ideas, but
I think a lot of people too had smaller cars, so they're coming through many times.
yeah. And
They
that
didn't
was
have
another kind of the reason we wanted to shorten the time, or try to shorten the time a little bit, is because it gave people the opportunity. I mean, you can't say for sure, but like you said, hey, my buddy in Oakdale, hey, we can go through there again, it's open again. You saw a lot of people multiple times. So it kind of just made you wonder where the stuff was coming from, so.
And can you remind me, Ron, the pickup event that was done, had there not been one for some time prior to that?
Yeah, not since I had been working at Public Works, so that was like 15 years, so I don't know when it was done. I know that it was done prior, I don't know when that was.
Behind Sandberg's mortuary.
Okay,
We had that access and there were dumpsters.
Oh, that's right.
But so that's not 15 years ago, it was, I think,
I think it was
less than that.
electronic.
Yeah,
more, just
electronic, yeah.
yeah, and like Scott or Councilmember Thorson said, you know, we had the trailer across there where people could just drop it off anytime. It ended up being
You really have people,
couches and
everybody
chairs
dropping
and,
everything.
You know, every day we were picking up whatever it might have been dropped off. So.
And I think something we're curious about is whether the last event was meeting a long pent-up demand. You know, for years, all this stuff was accumulating in people's homes. And then if we have it annually, we may not need to have it twice annually. I think that's what we want to see, is how the demand changed.
Even if you do it twice a year, I mean, it's,
Yeah, and we were thinking, you know, if we did 2 different events, you know, if we did this one in the spring and then in the fall, if we did electronics and a shredding, you know, something like that, maybe not a full-blown, you know, pickup, but I guess we just have to see. I mean, we're just kind of figuring out how this works and what the demand really is, so.
are the electronics going down or no?
I don't know, I mean, I don't know, the TVs now, I don't know if they last as long as they used to, but, I mean, people would come in, I mean, there's people that brought in 30 laptops, you know, at a time, or they brought in a dozen TVs. So, I don't know, there was a lot of electronics.
Right.
We have actually pretty detailed records as to what came in last year, so it'll be really interesting to compare last year versus this year.
Yep, yep. And I know Ramsey County, they offer, you know, the hazardous, you know, waste over at Aldridge Arena, and that's helpful. I think they offer, you know, some other, I don't think they do electronics, but they do more hazardous stuff, which is also good to promote for our
Yeah,
area.
we looked into getting hazardous waste here, and we weren't able to get that accomplished.
Say that again?
We looked into seeing if we could get hazardous waste
Oh.
at this event. It just didn't work out.
No, I think it's good to keep it over at Maplewood.
I agree.
Good, yeah, I'm excited for this. Any council members want to help that day?
We have lots of yellow vests.
Yep, we got.
All right.
They fit council members really well.
We had fun last year. Talking trash. Again. Thank you, Gary and Ron. Appreciate it. So, yeah, I think that's a great event, you know, spring cleanup, especially if it's a nice day and people are out in their yards and cleaning up and getting their garage and house, and, yeah, it's fun and it's fun to see what they bring in. Sometimes it could be very interesting. I suppose, Willie, you must see a lot of weird stuff too that people. So what is the weirdest thing you've ever seen come through, or do you have any good stories on trash?
Weirdest thing I've seen, I can't say on camera.
Oh, okay.
Are you saying you know where Jimmy Hoffa's body is
Yeah,
buried?
yeah.
As far as these cleanups go, since tennis is kind of partnering with the city, if you wouldn't mind asking my brother to come to some of the meetings, we do quite a few of these, and he's really, really good at setting up to make things very efficient. And he wouldn't mind working with the staff.
I think does he already work, Ron, or?
I don't know that we have reached out, maybe we'll reach out to him, we'll kind of show him what we got going, and he might be able to add something to it, that would probably be helpful.
That's a good resource.
Last year, and it worked out, but he probably maybe has some ideas, and one of our guys may have talked to him.
Yeah, like I say, I don't want to step on any toes or anything, but as long as we're kind of there anyway.
Right.
I know he's got a lot of ideas, and he's the one that goes to most of these cleanups. And
Sure.
so if he could put his 2 cents worth in, it may help
Yeah,
everybody.
no, it's good information. Good,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else? That's all we got? It's all we got? And we can't talk about anything else, so if anybody's got any questions for anybody here, if not, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Thorson,
Second.
second by Councilmember Wong. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Workshop is adjourned.
And thanks, Philson and Willie, for coming out.